Hi, I'm Brad,
I'm Pam.
and this is our excellent adventure, restoring an Airstream, a 1971 31-foot Airstream. And they're off. How did we get here?
We just wanted to tell our story a little bit. I don't even think I knew that restoring an Airstream was even a thing. Our son suggested that we get one for our wedding business to use as a photo booth. And so we got super excited about the idea. Looked on Craigslist and bought the first one that we saw, sight unseen. Pictures looked great. It was super shiny. It looked like it had some nice work done on the outside. And I have to say the pictures were maybe a little deceiving, as was the description. It said that it was in good shape and that it had been fully gutted.
Yeah, I mean, the price was right, but it was sitting in Moab, and so we didn't have the opportunity to drive 9 hours to look it over before we bought it, so it was sight unseen.
And she was very insistent that we pay before.
It was pretty sketchy. We thought actually that at one point that we were getting scammed.
I had a mental breakdown in the kitchen thinking that we were out our money.
Yeah. So we drove to Moab after many going back and forth about whether this was the right thing to do.
We live in Las Vegas, by the way.
We got there literally minutes before the storage unit closed and drove up, met some random guy who
wasn't even the lady that was selling the trailer.
Punched in the security code and basically I said, "See ya."
And that was it. We never saw him or heard from him again. We never saw her or heard from her again. So then I was completely worried that was it even theirs to sell. So we do not recommend buying a trailer the way that we did. However, it
worked out.
It worked out.
We drove into the lot and Pam's on the right side of the truck and she's looking to the right and she's like, "Oh, it's really cute."
It was all shined up. It was adorable. It was a little bit smaller than this one, and I said, "Oh my gosh, we did the right thing. This was a good thing. Look how cute it is."
And I took to the left and said, "I'm pretty sure
that's it.
Is our trailer."
It was extremely disappointing.
It was very shocking.
The super cute one.
We were all in at that point. The tires were flat, and even the electrical wasn't long enough to hook into the truck. And so we ended up having to stay overnight in Moab and go to auto parts shop and get the electrical so that we could extend temporary lighting for the brakes and the turn lights. And then we were able to pull it to the gas station to fill up the tires. The whole time we're just like, what are we getting ourselves into?
What have we done? And feeling completely overwhelmed because not only was it in worse shape than we had imagined, it was the amount of demo that we still had to do was way more than we were anticipating.
Yeah, like there's missing windows, subfloor was rotted,
holes in the trailer,
the roof, and
various places.
just a lot of stuff.
It was a real mess when we got it.
So we pulled it back here, and we were like, "What do we do now?" Here we are. So we're always looking for new and exciting things to add to our wedding business, and this Airstream was one of those. Hey, that sounds like a great idea.
We probably should have done a little research and thought about it a little bit more before we did it, but I'm glad that we didn't, because if we did that, he wouldn't have said yes.
It's true.
And I love a good uphill battle and a good impossible project, which this really seems like it is at this point. So it's all fun.
Neither one of us have any experience working on vehicles. I mean, friends and family who know us will be laughing at this because this is just not us.
Well, part of it is not us. The mechanical, there's no motor.
Grinding steel.
But but
It's not us.
we don't know how to do plumbing. We don't know how to do electrical, but we have renovated a few houses.
Getting down and dirty and in disgusting places.
We're used to working with our hands.
We're used to working with our hands.
Yes.
And keeping them clean. Anyway. I don't know, we're just, I am anyway, more skeptical and difficult to take on new projects that I don't know
I'm
what
not.
I'm doing.
I
And she's a driver.
I can see that it's doable. I know that if we get stuck, there's always help. There's other YouTubers that I've been religiously watching, and there's a lot of resources out there. So somewhere in the middle will be our actual reality. He thinks that it cannot be done. I know for certain that it can. And if we can just stay out of each other's way enough to meet up at night and still be good friends and, you know,
Keep our marriage intact.
all in a day's work. That's probably, I think, the biggest goal.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up that if something needed to be fixed, you just hire somebody who's a specialist that knows what they're doing. And so we tried that. We actually got a bid from the local dealership here in Las Vegas, and it came in at like $46,000.
And that was just to get it to the wiring stage, not
Yep.
even insulation.
So, yeah, so we said, well, there are some things that we really don't know what we're doing, like repairing the hitch, which meant completely cutting off the front of it and welding on a new piece. And then there were some holes, some ventilation holes at the top that needed sheet metal put over. And so we went with those.
I thought that they were going to actually replace the piece of metal, but they just put a patch over it and riveted maybe 16 rivets into it, which we could totally have done and saved ourselves some money. Anyway.
So it's that whole you don't know what you don't know until you try and
Now
figure
we
it
know.
out. Now we know. $1,600 to do that, and on top of it, one of the tires had gone flat, and the dealership tried to sell us 4 new tires when really the only thing that was wrong was a $17 stem.
He called us and told us that all 4 tires were bad, that he could barely get it from the parking lot to the shop, and that he needed to sell us 4 new tires before we could even take it off the lot. And we said, we'll just pump them up and we'll come and get them ourselves. We'll get the tires ourselves.
So lesson learned is that the dealerships are in the business of making money, and they see that
But you don't know
what you're doing, they're going to take advantage, of that situation.
Which I'm really bummed, because I really wanted to use them as a resource, but I probably won't.
That is correct.
That is correct.
So
I'm sure that many Airstream dealerships are wonderful, but this one was
I
just...
wasn't going to say that it was an Airstream dealership, but
Okay,
I can
well, we
cut
can
it
cut
out.
that out.
So this is our adventure, and we are going to video blog along the way and hopefully give you some reality as to what we run into.
I'll be giving you the upside, he'll be giving you the downside.
It's true.
For sure.
That is true. And
It's gonna be great.
it's gonna be raw. You're gonna hear our frustrations as well as our joys of success and happiness. So we hope you learned something from this, and we're not gonna sugarcoat it or edit it in any
I
way.
will. He won't.
Anyway, come along for the journey, and if you want to come down to Vegas and help us out, we'd love to have you. And I guess we're supposed to say like us and subscribe. This is our rescue kitten. His name is Oliver.
He just showed up in the bushes one morning. I came out, it was like Christmas morning, and there was a little baby kitty in the bushes.
He was maybe 4 weeks old
Oh,
and
he's so
probably
adorable.
6 hours from death. He was skin and bones. And I said, what are you doing bringing a mangy stray cat into the house?
Oh, he was so adorable.
He was tiny. He was no bigger than a Snickers bar in length. And here he is 4 months later.
Yep.
And he's a fully healthy, loving cat. We are dog people.
Yep.
But
We never wanted a cat, but
This
We're glad
guy
he showed up.
literally fell into our lives, and we love him to death.
We do.
Ow! You just bit my neck.